Now that Al has stayed with his friend in enemy town long enough to build up his recent past, he's ready to establish himself in the capital of the enemy area.
Provisional quarters. What did it tell me about this back at the schools? Provisional quarters. A big hotel. How about that? Lots of people. Easy to lose myself in there. Full of loose talk. Might get a chance to pick up a little info.
But remember what we told you, Al. That's why informers like them, too. That's why the desk clerks, the maids, the waiters, and the bellboys are all on the payroll of the secret police. And how about conformity to cover? What's a mechanic doing at the best hotel?
With a family. That's a possibility. The sort of thing a fellow like me might look for after being laid up. And if the family turned out to be sympathetic.
Boarding with a family is a good idea, if you know the family. If they're overly suspicious, it's too easy for them to keep tabs on you. And if they're overly friendly, they might restrict your movements too much. No, better keep on going, Al. But keep it in mind when you're ready for permanent quarters.
A lodging house. That's the sort of place a mechanic might go. And there's too many of them in town for the cops to check them all.
I want you to recognize the fact I'm running a respectable house I am. The nerve of them bringing that hustle right upstairs.
Forget that talkative landlady, Al. She'll be watching you like a hawk. No matter how discreet you are, she'll find something to talk about.
Anything like that going on. The very idea. I gave him a piece of my mind, I did.
Now here's an idea. A streetwalker's apartment. The most natural thing in the world. No register. No questions asked. Oh, it's just what I need to get me over there with my first night in a strange city.
Sorry to spoil your fun, Al. But remember, every prostitute's an informer, or a potential informer. And that's a good reason for staying out of brothels, too. Plus the fact that l'amour is constantly being interrupted by snap controls.
How about this? Might be something to tide me over. A migratory clientele. Sailors coming and going at all hours. Would give me lots of freedom of movement.
But the merchant marine's a breeding ground of political resistance, attracting agent provocateurs and snap controls. And again, conformity to cover. Would a respectable craftsman pick a dive like this?
A medium-sized hotel. Not important enough to be headquarters for secret police. Not so small that I'll be watched too closely. And just about the right size for my economic status. This may do the trick.
You can't find perfect security anywhere in town, Al. But this is probably your safest bet for the first few days. So you might as well go in and get some shut-eye. Meanwhile, we'll take a swing over to the coast and see how old friend Charles is getting along. Charles was supposed to spend 2 or 3 weeks in the fishing village where he landed, building up his recent past, before working his way up the coast toward El Porto. But 2 or 3 weeks to the average agent is just 2 or 3 days to Charles. After all, he's a fast worker.
How about letting me walk you home after work?
Some other time, maybe. When my boyfriend gets shipped out again. He's over there now. In the corner. He gets sort of jealous sometimes.
Submarine, eh?
Well, what does he look like?
This is kind of a hangout for them, isn't it?
You better drink your beer.
All right, all right. Any idea how soon you'll be shipping out again?
Say, for a fisherman, you ask an awful lot of questions.
Tell the truth now. You wouldn't like me to sit around here like a clam.
No, I guess not. I get kind of tired looking at these fishermen hanging around here like a lot of sour apples. But you're sort of different. Oh, I better get back to my sailor now. He's got his eye on me.
That's all right. You keep the change.
Say, what do you catch out there? Goldfish? Here you are, Rudy. Another beer. No, it's all right. It's paid for. Out of that tip that fisherman left me.
Tip, eh? What's the fisherman doing throwing his money around? Probably another one of those black market bugs.
Oh, I don't know. He seemed honest enough. He really is an interesting fellow.
Interesting? You must have drunk too much of your own beer. Why, all these stupid fishermen are the same.
Not this one. He seems a lot smarter than the others.
Well, he better not get smart with you.
Boy meets girl. If this were a Hollywood movie, that would be the beginning. But here in enemy area, it's much more likely to be the end.
What's the matter, Al? Have a bad night? Getting jittery? Don't let it get you down. Sooner or later, it happens to the best of them. You can handle it. Why don't you start doing something about it? Nobody around here stays in his room all day unless he's sick or scared.
Looks okay. Guess I'll go out and have a look around.
Probably nothing but the maid. Keep her waiting, and you start talk.
Come in.
Good morning, sir. May I clean your room now?
Oh, why, sure. I was just getting ready to go out.
Well, it was a little better last night, wasn't it, sir? But I hear they knocked out a ball bearing factory on the outskirts.
Well, that's a shame.
Yes, the way things are going, they'll lead every man in the country now. Do you work here in town, sir?
Well, I got a job at the Falcon plant.
The Falcon plant? Oh, that's where my cousin works. What department are you in?
I mean, I've got an appointment for a job at the Falcon plant.
Well, good for you. I hear they're taking on a lot of men these days.
See, it's quite a bus ride out there. I better be going.
Well, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Wonder if this
policeman. My God, I think he's going to stop me.
Don't get jittery, Al. Remember what we told you. If something frightens you, don't run away from it. Turn and meet it. Easy does it now.
Pardon me, officer. Do you have the right time?
10:35.
Thank you very much.
Now, what's so hard about that? My first morning in town and a copy's out of my hand. Why, I'll be operating before I know it.
Don't you know you shouldn't throw things in the street?
I'm sorry, sir. I guess I forgot.
Forgot? With signs all over town warning you against it? Let me see your identification card. Pick it up. In future, observe the regulations.
Yes, sir.
Operating before you know it. Blowing before you know it, you mean?
That's right, Al. An overconfident agent doesn't have to look for trouble. He'll find it just as surely as Student Charles.
All set to make sensational disclosures. The goddamned idiot, what the hell's he trying to do? Show off?
El Porter's a pretty vital spot. He ought to have his brains examined.
If he has any left after the enemy secret police get through with him.
Who's there? Give the password. Who's there? Halt! Halt!
Let's see. Weren't you the fellow who didn't have to study up because he knew this spot by heart? You've got courage, initiative, and we're tempted to say water on the brain. Look at you, soaking wet, out of breath, in danger of your life. If you were a good agent, instead of just a daring one, you'd be home in bed like any other respectable member of enemy area society.
Well, your papers seem to be in order.
Like any other respectable member of enemy area society, Al gets a war production job.
Report to the East Gate on the night shift.
Thank you, sir.
Moves in with a private family. Makes friends with his fellow workers. Attends the government labor rallies. Listens faithfully to all official broadcasts. Receives praise from the foreman as a conscientious workman. Takes a stroll through the park on his way to his job on the night shift, like any other respectable member of enemy area society.
Mind if I look at your paper?
Help yourself.
Thanks. Say, I see we shot down 12 more of their bombers last night. Yeah, the situation seems to be improving. I hope so. These last few weeks have been pretty tough. Yeah. Want to take a look at the sport page? Thanks. Say, the champion's going to try to make a comeback after all. I thought he was all finished after they shot him down on the Eastern Front.
Just a couple of enemy area citizens having a harmless conversation on a park bench. At least that's the way it looks to passersby. But this casual conversation covers the first meeting between our agent and the cutout, who will carry his first message to the WT man to be radioed from enemy area.
Well, that's it. It may not make super agents out of any of you, but we thought it might stimulate some interesting discussion. Its main value, it seems to me, is in orienting you toward the type of work you will be doing. As Colonel Robertson has told you, it is not an attempt to teach specific techniques, but merely to present in a little more realistic form the basic concepts and general principles which apply to all undercover and semi-cover activities, even in neutral countries or in the Far East, where specific techniques would differ greatly from those portrayed here. Of course, very few of you will ever be given missions like the ones Al and Charlie had to tackle. Most of you will be recruiting, training, or handling agents, or performing those routine service jobs for OSS that seem to have so little connection with our agents in enemy-occupied territory. But every single job, from camp cook to jump master, is a part of the lifeline connecting the agent in the field with his home office. No matter how removed your job may seem, the degree of your conscientiousness in maintaining security can be the difference between success or failure in the field thousands of miles away. And if this picture has shortened the distance between you and the man at the end of the line, it is serving a valuable purpose. But regardless of where you fit into the picture, this film, despite its entertainment value, is really a textbook in disguise. And the value of any textbook is your ability to digest the material to where it is something not merely memorized, but actually transfused into your own thought processes. An analytic discussion of this picture will undoubtedly crystallize and develop many points that had to be skimmed over in a film as general as this. The first question that came to my mind, for instance, was whether the desk man was right in sending Charles to El Porto in the first place. He'd probably justify his decision by maintaining that Charlie's thorough knowledge of the area and his subjective motivation for the job outweighed his personal shortcomings. Or you might, in running this picture again, test yourself for observation of details. Did you notice, for instance, in the scene where Al was sweating it out in the hotel room that first morning in the capital, that he rubbed out in the ashtray a cigarette that had only been half smoked? Well, in a country where cigarettes have become a scarce and precious commodity, wouldn't this wastefulness make him conspicuous? Well, that gives you an idea of some of the things that you and your other instructors can kick around. And each time you see this picture, I think you will find it more instructive and more provocative. All right, now you've got the floor.